Hey everybody, happy new moon. This is Chase Petiche. I am here to give you guys a energetic and astrological update for this new moon on January 29th, 2025, which also coincides with the year of the snake. So literally those two things are happening like on the same day. And then we have the Imbolc, the pagan holiday of Imbolc on the 1st. So there's a lot of transition happening now. I wanted to talk about some of the energetics and some of the things I saw in the chart and what I'm picking up. So, what I can see from the chart, what's really interesting is that the sun is conjunct. It's a new moon in Aquarius, right? And we've had a lot of Aquarian energy this year already. We had the Pluto conjunct the sun on Inauguration Day. It's Aquarius season. Here we are with a new moon in Aquarius. And we have the initiation of the age of Aquarius that is truly upon us, that is really liberating us. And it's very exciting. If we can get into the excitement of it, it's super, super exciting. The energy and the age of Aquarius coming online. It's giving us a higher vibrational frequency to access. It is allowing us to break out of our prescribed norms. It is giving us freedom to rebel in all kinds of ways. And it's really opening us up because, as I've talked about, we've moved out of the age of Pisces, which was very interconnected and kind of strewn with a lot of codependency. And the age of Aquarius is really all this air, and it's liberating us and it's freeing us. And we're free to be ourselves without the expectations of the tribe or this or that, or these hegemonic orders or these hierarchies. And we are free to really access our own inner voice, our own connection to source. And it's really powerful. It's really a profound time if we can vibe and get into the vibe, step out of the fear, get into the vibration of the new, hold to the light, and work with these energies. I saw something, it was like on my Instagram. It was like the best way to predict the future is to invent it. That's Aquarian energy. So it's like, instead of being like, what's going to happen? Oh my God. It's like, let's create this bitch. Let's do this. So it's an exciting time, and it kind of is our responsibility to hold to the frequency of this new age. So a few things are happening on this new moon. First of all, the new moon is in Aquarius. It's at 9 degrees, which I thought was interesting because here we are starting out the year of the snake in Chinese astrology. We're in Imbolc. It's kind of the beginnings of, we're beginning to feel the beginnings of spring. And it's an interesting time. So a 9 energy, let's talk about 9 energy. 9 energy represents completion, humanitarianism, and enlightenment. It's the end of a cycle. It's 1 through 9 is kind of like 9 represents the end. It represents the culmination. It's like the full moon. It's like we've hit our peak of this cycle and we are going to be moving on. So there is an element of shedding, of releasing, of hitting something and then moving forward and moving into something else, which is really kind of coincides with the energy of the snake. Spiritual perspective, higher universal truths, moving beyond the personal. So starting to get a broader view, which is very Aquarian as well, of ourselves, our standing, our situation, our situation, forgiveness and letting go, acceptance and release. This is a big one, I think, because it's able to really, it's transition and it's able to move on. It's able to shift. It's able to move out. And then, the shadow of the 9 is kind of resistance and clinging to what's familiar, resistance of this outgrowing form and clinging to what's familiar, which I think a lot that is going on a lot right now because times they are a-changing. And I think a lot of people are afraid and they're clinging to what's familiar, but that is kind of like on a lower timeline because a lot of stuff is just It's becoming obsolete. Time is going by much faster these days. Even the way we used to measure time is not the same. And I can feel it in my own soul, the evolution, the frequencies, working with solar flares, all these things. It's up leveling our frequency. It's up leveling our the way we perceive time. And if you kind of think about it, the higher you go, I mean, this is kind of why time is, when you're on Earth, time goes slower. The higher you go, things move faster. It's kind of like space travel or the distance in space. And when you're high above, you can see the workings of things happening. And this is kind of what's going on, is our frequency is elevating. We're shedding the old, and we're starting to take a broader view. So I also want to talk a little bit about the snake energy of what's coming in, because this year it's going to be, I mean, I am all about transformation. So transformation to me is like, yippee. And I feel like, you know, we all go through our cycles, and when we can really excavate our shadows, go into them and release, when we can really start to work with that energy, we can profoundly transform. And that is where we're at right now. We're in a place of profound transformation. And that is the year of the snake, which also, you know, traditionally the snake is linked to the feminine. So we have a rising of the divine feminine. We have a rising of the feminine element. But, you know, snake traditionally rules transformation, rebirth, and healing. We have a letting go of old patterns, beliefs, and identities. So that's going to be a lot of what's going to be happening this year. Is there's going to be there's going to be hierarchical, deep state structures that are going to try to really create a lot of fear, and that fear is going to become so intense that there's going to be a awakening, because people are like going to realize that they have the choice, that they don't have to be in fear so much, and that they're going to start taking responsibility for their own reality and disconnect from these structures and start to really empower themselves on a very deep level. So, you know, all of our old patterns, beliefs, and identities, that is the kind of old world that a lot of us are leaving behind. We're stepping into a new vibration, a new identity, a new, just allowing ourselves to evolve, because that is the natural order of the universe, is evolution, the spiral of time. Right? Healing and vitality. I think this is a big one. Snake energy rules regeneration. The snake's been used, you know, on the catechus, on the medical. It's like everywhere. It started originating in Greek times, probably before that. You know, the snakes regenerate. And I've been really thinking a lot about this, and thinking about how regeneration and restoration is actually the natural order of our earth and our universe, really. And if we can allow it. So really starting to pay attention to where we have injured ourselves, or where we're keeping ourselves from healing. Because our bodies naturally heal, right? They naturally heal. So, and the earth naturally heals. So what we're starting to do in this time is start to pay attention. As we shed these systems and beliefs that were once causing us harm and injury to the soul, spirit, body, mind, and we start releasing those ways of being, and we start focusing on what feels good, we start regenerating. And then we shift, our frequency shifts, because we're stepping out of that old paradigm. Snake energy also represents wisdom and intuition, hidden knowledge and heightened intuition. So along with the astrology, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, you know, we have a profound moment in time right now that is very linked to very strong divine feminine energy coming through all of us, where our intuition is able to be accessed. So we're going to stop depending so much on our rational mind, what people are telling us to believe, and we're going to tap our own internal source and discover our own truth in connection without needing any information from anybody else. It's really that is like the essence of spiritual awakening. That is the essence of really reclaiming one's power. And we're in that right now. There's not really much more of a powerful archetype, really, that's more ancient or deep as the snake, that represents transformation more than the snake. So this year, if we can lean into the freedom of the shedding of the skin, there will be profound evolution. Profound evolution. The last thing the snake represents: life force and sexual energy, awakening of creativity, insight, spiritual development. So, it's traditionally linked to Kundalini. The Kundalini is this idea of this energy that's coiled around the spine, the base of the spine. It works with the chakras, the ancient energy of the chakras going up the spine, hitting the top of the crown. And as this energy is activated, different areas of our body and different things start waking up. So we're gonna this year is gonna be it's gonna be true awakening energy. The serpent will be highlighted. So we're gonna be experiencing our own levels of awakening, which also coincides with creativity. I've been feeling so creative lately. It's so fun when you start feeling those surges of creativity, and you start feeling like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. I want to do this and I feel excited and I feel good. It feels great. Okay, so the astrology also, to get back to the chart, is we have Pluto conjunct Mercury on this new moon, which we just started this year out with strong Aquarian energy, age of Aquarius, but it's also really strongly Plutonic, which very much aligns with the snake and the energy of the 9. Plutonic energy is death and rebirth energy. Snake is death and rebirth energy. So this year is just setting the tone. It's like boof, 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 boof. It's primal transformation. It is energy that's ready to be shed. And it's happening inside of this is Mercury, which is our communication, our minds. So the way we think. Remember, Pluto can also, if we're on lower timeline energy with it, really get us stuck in our fear. And through that, we become very controlling and dominating, and we don't let people be free. And it's power over. This is one of the best ways that I can think about Pluto too, is that it's having power over something versus power from within. So in this emerging paradigm, in the paradigm we're moving out of needing to have power over. So that is kind of how we've described power in this era, the past few thousand years. I mean, who knows? It's honestly been a long time. The way people have talked about power, when we think about power, this is an interesting thing to think about. We think about having power over. It means that this person can control this, is dominating this, right? True power, Plutonic energy of the highest form, is that no thing, no one, no energy, no entity, nothing has power over you. You are sovereign and you have dominion. So think about that. Think about that in a real way, and starting to emerge on the higher timeline of what that means. When you start to think about that, that's why I've really been resonating with like punk rockers lately. I saw this rad clip. I'm going to include it in my newsletter of like Patti Smith talking about what freedom means to her and just being like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not afraid of death and I'm free. I don't care what anybody thinks of me. And no one has power over me. Really, that's one of the themes, not having power over, not needing to fit in, not doing things for others. Really sovereign. Plutonic. That's Plutonic. Detachment. So we're in a Plutonic cycle right now, and it's an initiation to step in and more boldly into our courage, into excavating our shadows, into allowing ourselves to act on our intuition and have channel our intuition. And the last aspect I want to talk about here on this on this chart is that we have the North Node 1 degree separated from Neptune, conjunct Venus, and then Saturn's coming up in the mix. We have a stellium in Pisces. We have a profound moment right now. So not only is all this going on, right? The Plutonic, the snake, the completion, the Aquarian, all this stuff that's changing. We have this portal of energy in Pisces that is opening up the gates of our intuition and our spiritual connection and the understanding of the spirit behind matter, and beginning to reclaim our spiritual power and understand that we are the creators of our life, and starting to tap our soul's path, our soul's desire, our soul's purpose, our destiny, starting to align and allow and receive information to come through. So there's a very powerful and potent energy right now that's alongside that. So this is a profound time. This is a sacred time of transformation we're going through right now. It's a holy time. Let yourself rest. Let yourself journal. Let yourself relax, dream. Really process the changes. Don't just keep yourself busy on the hamster wheel so you never actually feel. Because remember, all this is happening through us, not to us. All these changes, they're not happening out there. They're happening in here. We take responsibility for our spiritual life. We become part of the change. We are the change. So those are my thoughts for this new moon. It's a beautiful time. I'm feeling it in such a strong way. I feel like the phoenix rising. It feels so amazing. I wish the same for all of you. Shed, release, allow, step in. All right, I'm sending you all love.